Primary weapons. Your primary is the cornerstone of your loadout. It needs to be reliable and effective. It has been over a year now since I made my video where I ranked every single primary in Helldivers 2. To say that things have changed since then would be a massive understatement. New weapons, new buffs and nerfs, and weapon customization have massively changed the landscape of primary weapon balance. Here is the tier list. I have every single primary in the game right here. Just to be clear, B is average, A is above average, S is the best of the best, C is below average, and D is, well, awful. So we're gonna get started with the Liberator, the AR-23 Liberator. This is the basic assault rifle that we all know and love. It is viable on any difficulty as long as you can aim it well and you bring other weapons to fill out your loadout. And I just think that a lot of people kind of underestimate the Liberator because it's very basic. It's the first weapon you use, so people might associate it with, like, I guess, like low-level play or whatever, but, well, it's the basic assault rifle. It's an all-rounder, and it's just okay. So Liberator definitely goes into B tier. Next up, we have the Liberator Penetrator. This is also just the basic medium pen version of the Liberator, of course. It's great for medium pen, I think. It has great magazine size for a medium pen weapon. It has decent damage. It's easy to understand. Everyone gets it. It's all around just a great choice for a medium pen weapon, and the damage doesn't even suffer that much compared to the standard Liberator, so I'm putting the Penetrator in A tier because I'm a big fan of it. Next up, we have the AR-23C Liberator Concussive. So the Liberator Concussive is a modified Liberator that fires very slowly with below average damage, but it does come with a drum mag by default, so you don't need to grind away to earn that. It has great stagger, and when you combine that with the drum mag, it makes the weapon excellent for crowd control against groups of, like, small to medium-sized enemies. I think it's actually not that bad on defense missions like High Value Extract, or against the bugs, because the bugs always come out with, like, a bunch of sort of small to medium-sized enemies, and you can stagger a bunch of them at once. But you're gonna want to bring, like, sentry guns or a guard dog to help fill out your firepower and make sure that you can actually kill them. I'm putting the Concussive in B tier. Next up, we have the AR-GL21-12. This is the only weapon in the game to feature an underbarrel grenade launcher, which makes the weapon pretty versatile in a number of different situations, and it makes it very fun to use. It actually deals more damage and fires faster than the Liberator, but it has terrible ergonomics and limited customization. This weapon is definitely a side grade to the basic Liberator in my opinion, so I'm gonna put it in the B tier. I think I'll put it higher than the Liberator because underbarrels are just really fun to use. Next up, we have the STA-52 Assault Rifle. This weapon has a really awesome design from a classic shooter franchise. It's fun to shoot and it's easy on the eyes. Unfortunately, being a legendary class weapon, this weapon has no customization to speak of at all. Can't even customize the weapon patterns on it. It's a real shame. It fires the same ammo as the Liberator and the Liberator Carbine, which is, pretty good. However, a fully leveled Liberator Carbine outclasses this weapon in nearly every single stat. And the Liberator Carbine is in a cheaper war bond. You gotta spend $1,500 to get this weapon if you didn't buy it back then during the Superstore days. This weapon really needs some kind of buff or a rework because it's such a cool weapon that deserves to have a place in the sandbox. I think that unfortunately, just by virtue of the fact that it can be downright replaced, the STA-52 has to go into D tier. It needs a buff, and until it gets that, there's really not a point. There's no reason to use this unless you're a huge fan of Killzone. Next up, we have the AR-32 Pacifier. The Pacifier is actually kind of underrated, especially if you're good at playing with your team. This weapon is medium pen with pretty good fire rate but low damage per round. But the bullets also apply stun to enemies. The high rate of fire helps it stun enemies very quickly, and it sets them up for some really easy kills. Now, you can't just use this weapon on its own merits. You need to have more firepower. You might need a good team with you, and I recommend bringing a guard dog so you can have consistent firepower. But I do think that the pacifier is kind of underrated, so I'm going to put it above the 1-2 in B tier. Next up, we have the AR-2 Coyote. This is definitely one of the coolest looking rifles in the game. It takes inspiration from real-world weapons like the Galil and the whole AK platform. It has medium pen, with decent damage and decent fire rate. All around, it's solid, but the bullets set enemies on fire, which makes this weapon great for taking out multiple medium-sized enemies, as long as you can, give them just enough rounds to set them on fire, then you switch targets and do that over and over. It's actually very, very viable against every faction, I think, too. So I think that the AR-2 Coyote is definitely an A tier, above the Penetrator. Next up, we have the one, the only, the legendary MA5C assault rifle. This is the coolest weapon in the game. It puts the legendary in Legendary Warbond. It has great damage for a medium pen assault rifle. It comes with a unique first-person view with a functional ammo counter and compass, just like the real Halo games. It's incredibly fun to shoot, and it's the best version of the Halo assault rifle that has ever existed. Unfortunately, though, it features no customization, but it's still my favorite. It's all around great. I mean, I use this gun all the time, and it never really lets me down, so I'm thinking a high A tier, maybe S tier. It's my tier list. I get to do what I want. It's S tier. Sue me. Next up, we have the AR-23A Liberator Carbine. The Carbine has an insane rate of fire, and it fires the exact same ammo as the Liberator, but with more recoil. But once you level up this weapon, it turns into an absolute beast. Once you get the drum mag and better recoil control, this thing is just ridiculously good. It's kind of unreal. People call it the Stalwart for a reason, because it is one of the best light pen weapons in the game, and you can effectively replace your actual Stalwart with this thing. It's so good. And I think anyone who's used it before and leveled it up knows that, yeah, the Lib Carbine is definitely an S tier. Next up, we have the AR-61 Tenderizer. This is one of my favorite assault rifles in the game, and it was for a very long time one of the only weapons that I would bring back in the early days. Visually, it's very similar to the battle rifle from Halo, which I, of course, appreciate, and it can be tweaked to function the exact same way. You can crank up the RPM and turn it down to burst fire mode, and it's literally just a knockoff battle rifle. It's really fun. It has great damage per round, great fire rate that can be modified, and a smaller magazine than the Liberator family, unfortunately, with no options for magazine customization. But overall, if you want light pen and if you can aim well, the Tenderizer is really damn good. Tenderizer is definitely an A tier in my opinion. Next up, we have the AR-59 Suppressor. It has the same damage as the Liberator, with a fast fire rate, but with more recoil and very slow projectiles. And of course, this weapon comes with a suppressor, which makes it not only great for stealth, but good for actual normal gameplay because you don't attract as much attention to yourself. And in general, this is actually a decent all-around assault rifle. I think it's good enough to trade with the basic Liberator if you just want a standard light pen assault rifle. So I'm putting it right above the Liberator because I like suppressed weapons, and this does that pretty well. And our final assault rifle is the BR-14 Adjudicator. Fun fact, this is one of the only weapons to ever change categories. This used to be in the Marksman Rifle category, but that only lasted like a few weeks, I think. Then they moved it over to the assault rifles. The bullets on the Adjudicator hit so hard. You get great damage and medium pen, but with heavy recoil and poor ergonomics. Plus, the magazine size is definitely smaller than average. But the weapon actually has good customization, which you can use to reduce the recoil and ergonomics if you level it up. The Adjudicator does take skill to master and to use to its fullest, but it rewards accuracy and patience, and shit man, it's just fun to use. The Adjudicator, I think, goes into A tier, right between the Coyote and the Penetrator. Next up, we have the R2 Amendment. The Amendment is visually beautiful, and it's inspired by multiple weapons from human history. This is a light pen marksman rifle, which isn't always appealing, but it has a 3-round burst that can deal some extremely high damage over time. And it comes with a bayonet, which was recently buffed. The Amendment is perfect for pumping out damage into unarmored and lightly armored targets. It's just a fun weapon. It's beautiful, and it's cool to shoot, and you get some melee with it too. So I think the Amendment also, I'm torn between A and B tier. I think this is a low A tier. This is a low A tier weapon. It's pretty good. Next up, we have the R2124 Constitution. We already know how this is gonna go. It's one of the few bolt action rifles, which makes it very fun to shoot, I can admit that. It's medium pen with average damage for a marksman rifle, which again lets it down because it's bolt action, not semi-auto. There are no attachments for this weapon, even though there should be some options, like a stripper clip or an optic or something. And I know that yes, this is the challenge weapon. This is a joke weapon. It's fun to use, but it's not viable unless you are the best of the best of the best. Constitution, D tier, it sucks. I don't like it, I hate it. Next up, we have the R6 Deadeye. This is the only lever action weapon in all of Helldivers 2, which makes it insanely fun to use, and it feels great when you can learn to effectively use this weapon. It deals 300 damage per round with medium armor pen, giving it the highest damage for a weapon that shoots standardized, like, you know, actual bullets. And it's kind of one of the only things we have that is like close to like a sniper rifle, like an actual sniper rifle. So it's very fun to use at long range, and picking off enemies is just so satisfying with it. And if I had to give one tip on how to use it, I would say that if you empty the magazine, it takes a long time to reload. So try to leave one in the chamber before you reload. Leave one bullet in there, and then you'll reload way faster, because otherwise you need to, you know, pull the lever out, put a bullet in, pull it back, and then start loading it again. It's a whole hassle. The Deadeye is definitely A tier for me, but where in A tier? I'm gonna put it either right below or right above the Penetrator. I'm gonna put it above for now. I think it deserves to be there because it's damn fun to shoot for sure. Next up, we have the R72 Sensor. In my opinion, this is the best suppressed weapon in the game, period. It has the same damage as the Diligence, with less recoil and faster fire rate, but the projectiles are very slow. They are subsonic. It has a lower magazine size than the Diligence as well, but the magazine can be upgraded. And you can quickly kill a variety of enemies at long range while staying quiet. This weapon is so good for commando missions, because you can pick off berserkers, devastators, and all the smaller enemies like troopers very, very easily. So this weapon can carry you through an entire operation type. On that virtue alone, it's that good, I gotta put it in S tier. I think the Sensor, again, my tier list, my rules, the fact that the Sensor is so effective at stealth, and it still manages to be a good marksman rifle, definitely puts it in S tier. And next up, we have the R63 Diligence. The Diligence is the liberator of marksman rifles. It's an all-around good weapon. It has large magazine capacity for a marksman rifle, and good fire rate, which makes it into a well-rounded weapon for all ranges really. Plus you have good ergo on it, so you're never lacking when you're in close quarters. Now, like all light pen weapons, you need to have precision. So you gotta be able to, you know, hit enemies in the head, all their weak points, that kind of thing. But the Diligence overall is easy to understand, easy to use for anybody, and it's just an all-around decent weapon, so it's definitely, I think, like a mid-B tier for me. And our last marksman rifle is the R63 CS Diligence Counter Sniper. This is the bigger, bolder version of the standard Diligence. It kind of melts. Like, it's really good if you know how to use it. It deals 200 damage and penetrates medium armor. It is incredibly effective against medium-sized enemies. This is balanced out by the very, very poor ergonomics and high recoil. This is not very good in close quarter situations. The Diligence is a good all-rounder, and this is a true marksman rifle. but it does hit really hard if you can learn to use it correctly. So if you're the kind of guy that sits back behind your teammates and picks enemies off, the counter sniper is excellent. And for me, it is definitely an A tier. Probably above the Deadeye. I'd say it's above the Deadeye, but maybe below the Adjudicator. Now we're getting started on the submachine guns with the MP98 Knight. The MP98 Knight is only obtainable by purchasing the Super Citizen edition of the game. And it's a pretty good weapon, so some people may consider this to be a form of pay to win, unfortunately. And that is an understandable position to have. The weapon itself has incredible fire rate. I think the highest fire rate out of maybe anything in the game, and pretty good damage per round. It is a true DPS machine when it comes to lightly armored and especially unarmored targets. It also has great customization. You can lower the recoil and increase the magazine capacity, which makes the Knight into a fucking bullet hose. I think the Knight, it's either an A or possibly an S. I'm gonna say it's right below the Coyote, in my opinion. Next up, we have the STA-11 SMG. This is another great design from the Killzone crossover. It combines elements of a PP-19 Bison with an Uzi. I'm a big fan of this weapon in terms of looks. It's just it's like a fun-looking weapon. Very not real, but it's cool. Now, unfortunately, if you level up the Knight, the STA-11 is downright inferior. I think that it's worse in every single way if you level up the Knight. And that's just it. That's just the whole fucking thing. If you can't customize the STA-11 at all, it's not good when compared to the Knight. It fails. This is another weapon that needs a buff or a rework or something. I mean, hell, if they just gave it medium pen right now, I think that might save it. If you own the Super Citizen Edition, then there is no reason to use this weapon unless you're a huge fan of Killzone and you don't mind foregoing a better weapon to show off your love for the franchise. The STA-11 is a D tier right next to the STA-52. I can't justify putting it higher than that, unfortunately. Next up, we have the M7S SMG. This is the coolest SMG in the game by far. You already know why, and yes, I am biased. This is the only primary in the game that is both one-handed and suppressed, making it good for silently carrying objectives from one area to another, or I guess you could pair it with a shield if you really wanted to. It has good damage, good fire rate, good magazine capacity, great ergonomics. It's an all-around good SMG with the benefit of being suppressed. So I'm going to put the M7S in like a low A tier. Yeah, I think it belongs there. Next up, we have the SMG-32 Reprimand. This is the only SMG in the game that isn't one-handed at all, but it packs a punch to make up for it. It deals 140 damage with medium armor pen, making it the hardest hitting SMG by far, and it hits harder than all of the assault rifles for that matter. This is balanced out by the very high recoil and low magazine capacity. You want to use this weapon in close range to melt medium-sized enemies, and you can also tap fire against small enemies as well to, kill them in one shot. This is definitely best for those medium-sized enemies, like Devastators, like Striders. So I'm going to put the Reprimand in a pretty high A tier. I like it better than the Coyote, I think. Or do I? Oh man, I'm gonna put it like right here. I think it belongs there. Next up, we have the SMG-37 Defender. This is the basic SMG. This is the liberator of SMGs. It does 110 damage per round, with a pretty slow fire rate, but it has great ergonomics and good magazine capacity, and it actually does have great customization. You can put a drum mag on it and, more attachments to reduce the recoil and increase the ergonomics and all that good stuff. So I think I'm going to put it right next to the Liberator. I prefer the Liberator myself, but I think it belongs right next to it. They're both just super average. Next up, we have the SMG-72 Pummeler, which is basically just the Defender, but it deals less damage and it stuns enemies. It has bad fire rate, subpar damage, but of course good ergo and mag capacity, just like the Defender. In my opinion, this is the worst crowd control weapon in the game. The only thing that this has over the Pacifier is the ability to use it one-handed. So it can pair with a shield, and that's a pretty fun build, but then you would just be giving up the guard dog. I don't think that's really worth doing when you want to bring a crowd control primary. So the Pummeler is going to be sitting lonely in the C tier. And now it's time for shotguns. And our first shotgun is the SG-8 Punisher. This is the basic pump shotgun. It's an all-around good weapon. It has a light armor pen with 405 damage if you can land all of the pellets. And it's obviously great for any groups of enemies that are very tightly packed together. This weapon lets you reload shell by shell, which, lets you quickly reload the ammo you need between shots. So you can keep this weapon at a very good uptime as long as you're constantly reloading between engagements. And the Punisher lets you customize the barrel attachments, which means you can tighten the spread even more for better single target damage. I think it's just as average as the Liberator and the Defender, so I'm definitely going to put it right there in between the two. Next up, we have the SG-8S Slugger, which is the only slug shotgun in the game. This is basically just a modified version of the Punisher that fires slugs. That's it. It deals 330 damage with medium pen, and you don't need to worry about the spread like other shotguns. So it's pretty good, and it does serve a unique purpose in the game. It is somewhat lacking in customization because you can't, change the chokes on it or anything, but it's actually just a decent weapon as it is. I think it also belongs right next to its cousin, the Punisher. Next up, we have the SG-20 Halt. This is one of my personal favorite shotguns. It's just very fun to use. This is the only shotgun that fires flechette rounds, which penetrate medium armor and deal 385 damage if all the pellets hit the enemies. There are also stun rounds, which deal a third of the damage roughly, and don't penetrate medium armor, but of course they can stun enemies. It's an alright option to have, but I never find myself using them that often. But it does mean that you can use the Halt as a crowd control weapon, which is neat. The biggest problem with the Halt is that it has very, very wide spread with no way to reduce it. This weapon needs to be used in very close range to get the full damage out of each shell, but the wide spread is actually not bad for the stun rounds. So it's kind of like a weird trade-off you make, but overall, the Halt is a great weapon in my opinion. I think that the Halt deserves to be definitely A tier. I'm going to put it right next to the Deadeye and the Penetrator. Next up, we have the SG-451 Cookout. This is yet another modified version of the Punisher. This is one of the two incendiary shotguns in the game. This one is pump action, the other one is burst fire. It deals 320 damage with a light armor pen, and of course it sets enemies on fire. It also has extremely wide spread, which is bad for direct damage, but it's great for spreading fire to several enemies at once, which is ultimately the purpose of this weapon. This is very fun and satisfying to shoot. I love seeing all the little flame pellets fly out everywhere and damage enemies. I might put it in like a high B tier or a low A tier. I'm torn. I'm going with a high B tier. I don't think it's like amazing, but I think it's pretty good, so I think a high B tier is okay. Next up, we have the DBS-2 Double Freedom. This is just the super shotgun. That's what it is. So of course, it's incredibly fun to use, and it's powerful. It packs a punch. It deals 840 damage per round with medium pen, giving it the best direct damage out of any primary in the game. Plus, you can toggle it between single fire and double fire. Both modes are fun to use and both serve a good purpose. The biggest problem with the Super Shotty is that it takes a little while to reload. It takes a few seconds, but that is the only thing keeping this weapon balanced, so I get it, it makes sense. But if you run Siege Ready with it, you're gonna fuck shit up. And now that we have medium Siege Ready is more accessible than it ever has been before. I'm almost tempted to give it an S tier. It's actually really, really good. You know what? S tier. It's S tier. I'll put it right there in S tier. Next up, we have the M90A shotgun. This is the coolest looking shotgun. Yes, I am biased. It deals 605 damage, penetrates light armor, and it has a decent spread for a shotgun. It's pretty good all around. Unfortunately, it has no attachments or customization, which sucks, but that's just the world we live in. Now, the biggest problem is that this has a tiny magazine. It only holds 6 shells at once, but it reloads incredibly fast, so you can definitely stay on the move and reload in between like every shot, and you would barely have a difference in your DPS. Especially if you bring Siege Ready. You will just fuck shit up with this weapon. I think we're gonna put it in like a high B tier as well. Above the 1-2. Below Pathfire. Yeah, alright, that's good enough for me. Next up, we have the SG-225 Breaker. This is the original auto shotty and an all-around great weapon. It deals 330 damage per round, with a very tight spread compared to the other basic shotguns, which is kind of unexpected for an auto shotty. It also has great customization. You can customize every aspect of the weapon, give it a drum mag, and even tighten up the spray even more, so it's pretty fucking good. It's great for taking on groups of smaller enemies, but it can still deal with a bunch of like medium-sized enemies too. And the Breaker is these days kind of underrated, but when the game came out, man, this thing fucked. It was like the meta for Helldive. Breaker is an easy A tier weapon. I think it's right below the Reprimand. Next up, we have the SG-225 SP Breaker Spray and Pray. This is essentially just a modified Breaker shotgun. It does come with a drum mag and a duckbill choke by default, but it fires birdshot instead of buckshot, meaning that it deals far less overall damage, but it fires more pellets, which isn't what you want usually in a shotgun. This makes it terrible against singular targets, and having less damage per pellet means that it's not that great for crowd control either. This was once a decent option for crowd control a long time ago when compared to the basic Breaker, but since we can customize the Breaker now, there's not really a need for the spray and pray in my opinion. This weapon needs a buff or a rework or something. At least it does offer something unique. It's not 100% outclassed. Birdshot is a unique ammo type, so I can't put it in D tier, but I'm gonna put it in C tier. I never picked this weapon because you don't really need it, like ever. And our last shotgun is the SG-225IE Breaker Incendiary. This is yet another Breaker variant, except this one is Incendiary, obviously. It comes with a drum mag by default, so already the spray and pray is being given a run for its money. It deals the same damage per round as the spray and pray, but with less pellets and a wider spread, which is a good thing when you consider the fact that it sets enemies on fire. I think this weapon completely outclasses the spray and pray. If you want crowd control, you might want a weapon that can set whole waves of enemies on fire. The only drawback is that this is a burst fire shotgun, but that doesn't really matter because you can effectively fire it in full auto if you feather the trigger and you know what you're doing. It's really not hard to fire at the exact same fire rate as the other two Breakers. Spray and pray is definitely not as good as the normal Breaker, because the normal Breaker is more versatile, I would say. I think the spray and pray is a low A tier. A low A tier. Right, a cut above the cookout, in my opinion. Now we're going to look at the explosive category, and we're starting off here with the CB9 explosive crossbow. This is one of the most unique and versatile weapons in the game, period. It holds 5 rounds per magazine, and it deals 270 damage on impact and 350 damage with the explosion, totaling at 620 damage per round. Plus, both the direct damage and the explosive damage will penetrate medium armor. What else could you want with it? And the total radius of the explosion is 6 meters. allowing you to take out a group of enemies in a single shot. And of course, it has demolition force. It is capable of destroying simple buildings like bug holes and fabricators. And it's one-handed. It can be used with a shield or while carrying an objective. The crossbow just kind of does it all. The only thing it can't do is point blank, because you'll blow yourself up probably, but unless you're point blank range, the crossbow is a one-stop shop when it comes to killing most enemies in the game. So yeah, the crossbow, easy S tier, period. Next up, we have the R36 Eruptor. This is the only other bolt action in the game besides the Constitution, except this one is actually a good weapon. It comes with a 10x scope by default, making it pretty good for long range, but the projectiles are also quite slow, so you need to kind of lead your shots quite a bit. The Eruptor has some of the worst ergonomics in the game. It's so hard to aim at any range below, 100 meters. But the damage that the Eruptor can deal is so good that it makes up for it. It fires jet-propelled rounds that deal 230 damage, which penetrate heavy armor on impact and explode for an additional 225 damage. The explosion penetrates medium armor, and the explosion spawns 30 shrapnel projectiles that deal 110 damage each. So this weapon could theoretically deal thousands of damage to a group of enemies in a single shot. You can kill entire patrols in one shot with this thing. And just like the crossbow, it can be used to destroy buildings like bug holes and fabricators. And since this is better for long range than the crossbow, you can effectively snipe enemy spawn points. I mean, what else do I need to say? The Eruptor is an easy S tier. I think it's interchangeable with the crossbow for being one of the best weapons in the game. This thing fucks so hard. Now we're gonna do energy weapons. And our first energy weapon is the SG-8P Punisher Plasma. We have yet another Punisher variant, but this one is by far the most unique. This is one of the most fun weapons in the game in my opinion. It was actually broken for a long time. It didn't function properly, but Arrowhead has finally come out and buffed and fixed the weapon, making it the way it always should have been. It fires a ball of plasma that detonates when it comes near an enemy, dealing 225 damage in a 3-meter radius with medium pen. It's very satisfying to shoot, easy to understand, easy to use, viable against all factions, and most of all, goddammit, it's fun. And I like fun weapons, so Punisher Plasma, easy A tier, but where an A tier. I'm gonna put the Plasma right above the Deadeye and below the Counter Sniper. Next up, we have the Plaz 39 Accelerator Rifle. This is the only Killzone weapon that is not completely outclassed by something else. Unless you're counting the Wasp Launcher, but that's a different video. And another fun fact for you, when this weapon was released, it was in the Sniper Rifle category. That category no longer exists. This weapon fires a 3-round burst. Every round deals 250 direct damage and 100 explosive damage. Both damage types will penetrate medium armor. And you can charge up the weapon to deal even more damage, giving it pretty insane potential for burst fire and burst DPS. The projectiles have some of the highest velocity in the game, which actually makes it pretty good for long ranges. But this weapon overall is just very hard to use because of the ammo limitations. But it can kill medium-sized enemies incredibly fast if you can hit your shots. Again, unfortunately, there is no customization for this weapon or any other collab weapon, so that does bring it down a little bit. I'm gonna say bottom of B tier, because I don't think it's not like it's unusable. I just think that it needs a buff still. It still needs buffs. Next up, we have the Arc 12 Blitzer. The Blitzer is basically just an arc thrower for the primary slot, but it's modified to act more like an arc shotgun. It fires instantly, with no need to charge up like the standard arc thrower does. It has a comically wide spread, allowing it to hit a bunch of enemies that are in front of you, but the range is pretty low, making it into a close quarters crowd control weapon. But it's actually very good at it. It's very effective at stunning groups of small to medium enemies. Like the pacifier, you will need good teammates to help you actually kill the enemies, or you can always bring a guard dog to help you with that too. The blitzer also has no attachments, so you can't modify it to, fire out different sorts of arcs or whatever, which is kind of unfortunate because that would be really cool. I think the blitzer goes right next to the pacifier, maybe above it. I think the blitzer is pretty fucking cool. You don't always want to bring it, I'll say that much. But it is very good against melee enemies like the bugs, the voteless, so it does have a purpose. Next up, we have the Las 5 Scythe. The Scythe is basically just a compact version of the laser cannon. It can only penetrate light armor though. So there goes the biggest, best part of the laser cannon out the window. I don't think it deals enough damage most of the time, frankly, but it can set enemies on fire. But when you're sitting there with your laser on a target for 4 seconds and they don't die, it feels bad. It doesn't feel fun to use, in my opinion. Plus, I find that it overheats way too quickly, in my opinion. But there are options to upgrade the heatsink if you level it up. This is by far my least favorite energy weapon in the whole game, I think. I've never been a fan of it, so I'm putting it at C tier. I know I'm gonna get some flack for that, but I just don't like the Scythe very much. Next up, we have the Las 16 Sickle. This was once my favorite weapon in the game, but a lot of other great weapons and weapon buffs have come along since then, and the Sickle has somewhat struggled to keep up. The Sickle is a laser assault rifle, basically, and it is a side grade to the Liberator. It fires faster than the Liberator, but it deals significantly less damage. But you can also theoretically use it indefinitely without reloading, as long as you don't overheat it, which is definitely the best part of the weapon. Another problem is that it has terrible durable damage, and it's only truly effective against totally unarmored targets. It does 6 damage against light armor. It's pretty fucking brutal, man. So I hate to do it to the Sickle, man, but this is a low B tier. Above the Plaz 39, but below the Concussive, in my opinion. Next up, we have the Las 17 Double Edge Sickle, which is just a better version of the Sickle, in my opinion. It's basically an exact replica, almost an exact replica of the standard Sickle. But as it heats up, it gains damage and armor pen, eventually reaching heavy armor penetration. But as it heats up, as it gains damage, it will begin dealing damage to the user and can even set the user on fire. Because of this, you will want to bring an armor set to help you resist fire damage. The Salamander set from the Superstore will give you the best protection, and you should also bring the Vitality Booster. And yes, this weapon is very needy. It requires you to build an entire loadout around it, but when you do, it is insanely effective, and it's straight up one of the best weapons in the game. I think that the Dickel is an easy S tier, close to the Eruptor and the Crossbow. Next up, we have the Las 13 Trident, which is our newest primary in the game, and it's like an automatic laser shotgun. I think the Trident is what the Sickle and the Scythe both want to be. It is very effective against lightly armored and unarmored enemies. It will tear through waves of smaller enemies like Voteless or Troopers or little bugs or whatever. Now, the Trident can overheat quickly, but if you're smart with your shots, you probably won't need to reload it very often because it can deal a ton of damage to a group with a single shot. It's actually incredibly useful. The Trident is a definite A tier weapon. I think it's right around the Penetrator and the Tenderizer. Next up, we have the Plaz 1 Scorcher. This is the OG plasma weapon and an all-around solid choice. It deals 100 direct damage with light armor pen and 100 explosive damage with medium pen, which is kind of unique. There aren't a lot of mixed penetration weapons. It holds 20 rounds in a magazine and has decent ergo. It features underbarrel and optic customization, and it's just an all-around good weapon, and it's a great choice for anyone that wants to try out a plasma weapon and see if they like it, because it's in Helldivers Mobilize, so there you go. I think the Scorcher is like a high B tier, like right below the Cookout. And our final energy weapon is the Plaz 101 Purifier. This is an alternative to the Scorcher. It trades magazine capacity for extra damage, extra fire rate, and the ability to charge up your shots. It deals 200 direct damage and 75 explosive damage, and both damage types are medium pen. You can charge the Purifier for 1 second to deal 200 direct damage and 300 explosive damage in a 3-meter radius. It can also be rapid fired insanely fast, pretty much like an infinite fire rate. It will fire as fast as you can pull the trigger. It comes with the exact same attachments as the Scorcher as well. I think that if you have the skill for it, the Purifier is better than the Scorcher, but the Scorcher is easier to understand, and I find it more consistent a lot of the time. I think the Purifier is a high A tier. Probably put like above the Breaker, I'd say. And now for our final category, the special weapons. And our first special weapon is the VG-70 Variable. This is one of the most unique and complicated weapons in the entire game. It's too much to explain in this video, I don't have time for that right now. Each round deals 85 damage with light armor pen. It also has terrible ergonomics and spread, but great recoil control. This weapon features 3 distinct firing modes that make the weapon function in very, very different ways. If you would like to know more, go check out my video on Control Group. Like, it's a decent weapon, but I find it to be kind of overcomplicated for the average user, so I'm gonna put it in like also like a lower B tier right there. Next up, we have the Flam 66 Torture. This is just a primary flamethrower. That's it. That's all you gotta know about it. It is a suitable replacement for the standard flamethrower, and it allows you to bring different support weapons like a machine gun and still have the ability to use a flamethrower. This can't be easily compared to other primaries because it's very different for a weapon in this category, but overall, if you understand the flamethrower, you understand this weapon. It's actually pretty good. For my taste, I'm gonna put it above the Amendment. I think it's a pretty good weapon. And finally, we have the Jar 5 Dominator. The Dominator is kind of like a baby Eruptor. It shares a lot of the same characteristics as the Eruptor does. It has a 15-round magazine with very low ergonomics and very high recoil. The Dominator fires jet-propelled rounds that travel very slowly but deal big damage on impact. 275 damage with medium pen, to be exact. It also features a very high stagger force, allowing you to stun-lock enemies until they're dead. It's pretty fucking fun. It can be very difficult to use at times, but it can also be very rewarding to use effectively. In my opinion, the Dominator is also an A tier. Dancing around this area right here for it, I'd say it's right here. Right there, mid A tier. And here it is, here's the tier list. Are there any changes that I would make, is the question. I think S tier, I'm going to keep it the way it is. I might change the Counter Sniper and the Adjudicator. I think I like the Counter Sniper better overall. I'm also going to move the Punisher Plasma above the Adjudicator as well. And the Deadeye. This thing got demoted a little bit. I think I like the Halt more than the Dominator and the Adjudicator, so I'm putting those up there too. I think the rest of A tier is okay, in my opinion. I'm going to move the Diligence above the 1-2. I'm actually going to move the 1-2 down a little bit. To like here. I think I put the 1-2 too high to start off with. And yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this tier list. Let me know what I messed up and I got wrong, because I'm sure that this is going to be a very divisive and opinionated video. So let me know what you might change on this tier list. And of course, I want to thank all of my Hell Troopers. Swickety, Archangel Shipyards, Dirty Nightmare, Not Saint, Findas 16, ODST Exotic, John D. Roll, Norse Diver, Melek Paragon 9231, Gustavo Marcus 99, and Sire Milk. Thank you all for continuing to support the channel. It means a lot to me. And I hope you all enjoyed this return of a classic Grand Moff Togen series. And that's all I have for today. This is Grand Moff Togen of the SES Prophet of Dawn, signing off.